Well, hey y'all. So, Nick put out some new backing tracks on Spotify. So, we're gonna go ahead and put out a video on that, how these scales work and how to practice them. Because you can, like A minor, for instance, which is what I put out most of my videos in. You can play something in A minor and then try to chase the notes like some of these other guitarists are telling you to do. They talk about, A minors, you go to A minor. When they switch to a C, you go to C major. When they switch to, say, a D or a D minor chord, then you go to D minor or D major. If it's a D major chord, when they switch to G, then go to G major. You can do that if you get to the point to where you can memorize all those notes. But the problem with that is that, for instance, G major, not all those notes are in the key of C or in the key of A minor. D minor or D major, either one, not all those notes are in the same key. That's the problem with doing it that way, with chasing the notes and trying to go into a scale for that specific chord, is that it's not going to fit with everything else because you're playing different notes. Or D minor, for instance, is, once you get down here, it is now, if you're in D minor, these notes here, this is in the scale in the key of C, then you're right here at an F sharp. That's not in the key of C. Go back to F, that is the key of C, but that F sharp doesn't belong in A minor or C, so it doesn't fit with the rest of the song. It might fit with that specific chord, but that's not going to fit in with the rest of the song. Now, the way that I do this stuff is, let's start, this is one of Nick's. Now, just start in A minor. You'll note that the chords that he's playing, they're kind of descending. So, like at that point, you don't want to go it doesn't really fit to go up when the progression is going backwards in key. So, another thing is, try to make things circular on your licks when you're coming up with them. If you try to keep coming back to the same stuff. You know what? I need to tone you down a little bit. There we go, Nick. Okay, now then. Try to keep running back to some of the same stuff. What this does is, when you keep, after you come up and do your drop back down and do the same stuff. See, keep it nice and circular. That way you're building that muscle memory to do this stuff. And in this area, you're building up the muscle memory for these licks. That way, if you get to the point where you're playing in this and you're you just run out of ideas and you're not sure what to do, you don't resort to something like because that doesn't fit at all. But if you just try and make stuff up on the fly, you're liable to not only fall out of time, but also fall out of rhythm. However, if you've built up the whole you've got something to fall back on. That way, if you run out of ideas, you've already got a backup lick in mind. You can use it and adapt it to anything. As long as you've got this to where you don't even really have to think about it, but once you run out of ideas, instead of trying to come up with some lick to fill in there, you can just and give yourself some time while you're just hitting the same stuff that you know that you played 100 times. Give yourself some time to come up with something that fits into there that you can kick it into. As long as the whole point of playing these backing tracks isn't to make something that is going to become something else. I mean, you're not trying to write music here or come up with music. You're trying to solidify your chops in order to be able to hear something and play to it and not sound like complete ass. See what I'm saying? That's the whole point of practice. And that's the reason you practice the backing tracks, to build up those chops and build up those licks so that you've always got something to fall back on. Well, go ahead and let Nick do his thing. I love his backing tracks. He's got the best backing tracks on Spotify from what I've seen. But don't worry so much about chasing the notes. I mean, you can, when it hits a G, you can hit the G, where am I? 12. And you know that down and up to, you've got another G. And if you've got an idea of at least a couple G's you've got, then when it hits the G note, you can always, wherever you're at, oh, that ain't even the key, wrong string. You can slide up to it Sorry, got carried away. Okay, Nick, we're gonna have to stop this because I can't do this with you in the background with your temptation, you jerk. Okay, so you can always slide up to that G whenever you're needing a G chord, or whenever you hear the G chord, just to hit that G, and you can always hit it a couple times and make it into something and just solidify that you're on the G. You can do the same thing with D. And we just keep coming back to this D. You can do that without having to go and try and run through the damn the D minor, because yeah, all those are in the key of A minor, same with the rest of the song, but that one is not. These are. That one is not. And if it's D major that you're looking for, then you're all out of whack, because this is C major, these two notes, but this is D major. Oh, my bad. This is D major. I'm got to get the right string here. This does not fit. This does and this does. This does not fit. This does and this does. But then you're here. This does not fit. It's D major, but it's not C major or A minor. And neither is this. See, so you're out of key on a lot, whether you're going for D minor or D major in order to match that D chord. You're out of key with the rest of the song. So chasing those notes is all well and good if you're just chasing the notes. Don't try to build a scale around it though, because no matter what you do, you've got your relative minor and major. Those are the only ones where every key in this minor, or every note in this minor scale, is the same notes in the major scale. Those are the only ones that mesh perfectly like that. A minor, C major, D minor, F major. That's just how this works. G minor, A sharp major. That's just how that's how music works. If you are playing G minor and you try to play C major, you're gonna be out of key. It is what it is. That's the entire reason on that entire fretboard video I showed you how to move them to match the key. Don't chase notes like that though. Chase notes like G. Chase notes like that. The individual note, not the whole damn, not G major. Because you can hear when you're going in and C, you can jump into G major and hear that you're out of key. As here's A minor. And C major, or G major. Those are in key. But once you come up to you're out of key. Out of key. Back in key. You don't chase notes like that. I know there's guys out there telling you to do it. Don't do it. You will be disappointed. You've got to get to the point to where you know where each note is in each key before you can actually do that. With the pentatonic scale, it doesn't, the pentatonic scale does not include, plug in, you jerk. Jesus. The pentatonic scale is not the 3 notes per string that I teach you, so it has fewer notes, but you're still going to run into some that are out of key. Because the pentatonic scale goes off of the trifecta, or the majors, the first, what is it, first, third, and fifth notes, and then it throws in some seventh or sixth and seventh here and there. But yeah, it's not all the notes. It's only 2 notes per string. You're still going to fall out of key if you try to mix G major pentatonic with a C major pentatonic or an A minor pentatonic. They're not going to mesh. Stick with your minor and relative major. I gave you the formula in my last video for no matter what key you want to be in, every single note that's in that key. I've given you that formula. Use it and stick with that key. A minor, C major, D minor, F major. Stick with that formula, because if you try to chase notes by changing scales, you're gonna sound like hell. So stick with the overall song. If the song is in D major, stick with D major, and what would that be, B minor, D major? Yeah, stick with that. Don't try to chase from D to F and back up to G. Don't try to chase all this stuff around, because if you're trying to change scales around instead of just chasing the individual notes, you're gonna sound like hell. You're gonna be out of key from time to time. Just chase the notes that are already in the scale. If they're playing A minor, C and G and D and F, and every single chord that they play in that song, those notes are going to be in that scale. That's the whole reason they're playing the chords together, because they're in the same key. You're going to be able to get those notes on that scale that you've already got. So just go after the notes, not the scales, just the notes in the scale. See what I'm saying? And repeat over and over and over the same stuff that you're doing. Keep doing the same licks. Perfect them. Get a few licks under you. That way when you're playing a song and you've got an idea of what you want to play, or when you're playing a backing track and you've got an idea of what you want to play to it, and you're running through it, and you go to chase a note, and it throws you off, and you're not exactly sure where to go from there, drop back down into the tried and true. You'll be able to adapt any lick you've got. You'll be able to just speed it up or slow it down or throw an extra note in there. You'll be able to feel how to change it. Once you actually get these licks to where you play them to a few backing tracks, it will get you to the point to where you can change them up and you can feel the way they should change, and you'll just know. As long as you've got those licks under you and you instinctively know where to go to get to them, you're golden. Then you can work on the real improvisation of trying to just do crazy shit. But until you get to that point, try building some chops first, huh?